Okay, just want to run through Pythagoras' theorem and just have a really good look at what the rule actually states. So if this was C and this side was A and B, then the rule basically says that C squared equals A squared plus B squared. So what that's actually saying, that if you take the two sides and you square them, so you take both of these sides, you square them, and you add them together, then you will get the longest side, which is the hypotenuse, squared. Okay. So this long one here, this is called the hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. You can see the right angle and the right angle triangle. And this rule will only work in a right angle triangle. So why does this rule actually work? So if on each side you draw a square, and we're just going to do it for a triangle that has a side of 3, 4, 5, so we can just see how it actually works here. Now, if we look at this square here, the area of this square is 3 by 3. So the area of this square is 3 by 3, which can be written as 3 squared. The area of the one on this side here would be 4 times 4. So 4 times 4, which is 4 squared. Okay, and the area of the one on this side here would be 5 times 5, which is 5 squared. Now, the interesting part is what Pythagoras realised is this: if you had a right angle triangle and you drew the square that had the side length of the side of the triangle, and the side length of the side of this triangle, and the side length of the side of the hypotenuse, that 3 squared plus 4 squared would actually equal 5 squared. Because if you think about that, 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16, and 5 times 5 is 25. When you add 9 and 16 together, you end up with 25. And if you took this area here and this area here, the area on the two sides, and you rearranged it and you put it onto this big area here, it would cover it exactly. It would be exactly equal. So for a right angle triangle, if you've got the sides 3, 4 and 5, then 3 squared plus 4 squared will equal 5 squared. And what will actually happen is, for any right angle triangle, this will always be. If it isn't true, then the triangle's not right angled. Okay, so if you look at this one here, I haven't drawn it to scale, but if you look at 6 squared and you add 8 squared, does that equal 10 squared? So let's check. 6 times 6 plus 8 times 8, does that equal 10 times 10? Okay, that's the question. 36 plus 64, that equals 100. So 100 equals 100. So yes, it does equal it. So this must be right angled, and it'd have to be right angled in between the two smaller sides. Because if you square the two smaller sides and add them, you get the bigger side. And if you happen to draw the areas on each of those sides, then this area plus this area, if you put it into there, it would be exactly the same as that area. 8 squared plus 6 squared equals 10 squared. Now, if we look at this one here, let's try it. 1 squared plus 2 squared, does that equal 3 squared? So 1 squared's 1 times 1, 2 squared's 2 times 2, 3 squared's 3 times 3. So that's 1 plus 4 equals 9, 5 equals 9. That is not true, so that means not equal. So the sum of the square of the two shorter sides is not equal to the square of the hypotenuse, or the square of the longest side, which would have to be the hypotenuse. Therefore, it is not a right angle triangle, and it does not have a hypotenuse.